This super easy zigzag shell crochet pattern stitch works in so many different types of yarns and yarn weights, and even though it looks really intricate, it is super easy. It's basically just double crochets and chains, and once you get the hang of it, you won't even feel like you have to count anymore. So it's a 2-row repeat, super simple, and you can make it as big or as small as you want. For this tutorial, I will be using the Lion brand Made with Love, the cottony one, yarn. This is the colorway Over the Moon. I believe this is a yarn that is done in collaboration with the Olympic diver from the UK, Tom Daley. You know, the one who crochets and knits sweaters while watching the Olympics. This is very, very soft cotton. It's a cotton acrylic blend. It's a medium weight yarn, and the recommended hook size is 5 millimeters. I will be using a 5 millimeter hook from Tulip. This is a hook that I bought in a set of crochet hooks when I first started crocheting just a couple of years ago. I really like this set of hooks for lighter yarns because they're quite short. So for heavier yarns, I will use a longer hook, but I like them because they're pointy, they're lightweight, and they come in a whole set. So it was really easy to start crocheting and have all the size hooks that I needed all in one kit. This zigzag shell is an easy 2-row repeat, and we're going to start with a slip knot. Place the slip knot on your hook, and we are going to chain in a multiple of 10. Now, you can chain as many or as few as you like. Obviously, the samples are done in different chain lengths. So this, I think I just chained 20 for this, and this I chained 40 for. For this tutorial, I will be chaining 40 just so we have a good idea of what this looks like and we can work across a whole row repeatedly. So I'm going to chain 40 and I will see you at the end of the foundation chain. This is our foundation chain of 40 stitches. Before we start the 2-row repeat, we do have one setup row to do, which is really similar to the other 2 rows in the 2-row repeat. I will be working the setup row in the back bumps of the foundation chain. Depending on the kind of yarn you're using, you may prefer just to work directly through the chains as well, which you should do, whatever you feel comfortable with. To start the setup row, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. That chain 3 will count as if it's a double crochet. It's not, obviously it's not a double crochet, but we're going to count it as if it is one. And I'm going to start working in the back bumps. So I'm going to place my first double crochet stitch into the 5th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to skip 2, 1, 2, and we're going to place 3 double crochets in the following chain, all into one chain. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and place one more double crochet right back into that same chain. So you have a shell that looks something like this. Now we're going to skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and place 1 double crochet in each of the next 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so far you should have something that looks a little bit like this. Now we're going to skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and then place 3 double crochets in the next chain. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and go right back into that chain, the same one, with one more double crochet. Now we're going to skip the next 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and place 1 double crochet in each of the following 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4. So far, so good. We're going to skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and place 3 double crochets right into the next chain, into the same chain. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, and go back into that same chain with one more double crochet. Now skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and place 1 double crochet in each of the next 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip the next 2 chains and place 3 double crochets into the following chain. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, and go back into that chain with one more double crochet. Now we're at the end of our row. We're going to skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to place 1 double crochet into each of the last 2 chains in this row. And that is the end of your setup row before we start the 2 repeat rows. To start the very first repeat row, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. That counts as the first double crochet in the first repeat row, and we're going to turn our work. Now, because that counts as the first double crochet, we're going to crochet into the second double crochet right here. So this counts as your first one. So we're going to place a double crochet on top of that second double crochet in that row. So it looks like this. And now we're going to work directly into that chain 2 space. So this one right here. And we're going to place 3 double crochets right in that chain 2 space. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. And we're going to go back into the chain 2 space and place 1 double crochet. Now we're going to find that next group of 4 double crochets that you did in a row, and we're going to place 1 double crochet on top of each of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You should have something that looks like this. And you can see how those zigzag shells are starting to come together. Now we're going to find the next chain 2 space right here, and we're going to work directly into that space with 3 double crochets, chain 2, 1 double crochet, all into that same chain 2 space. Now we're going to find the next 4 double crochets that you placed, and we're going to place 1 double crochet on top of each of those 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to keep going like this all the way across this first repeat row. So in the next chain 2 space that you made in the previous row, we're going to place 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, another double crochet right back into that chain space. Now we're going to skip that group of 3 in that shell and find the 4 double crochets you placed in the previous row. We're going to place 1 double crochet on top of each of those double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to work into the next chain 2 space, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1 more double crochet right in that chain space, and now we're going to skip the last of that shell and we're going to find the last 2 double crochets from the previous row, and we're going to place 1 double crochet on top of each of those double crochets, remembering that the last double crochet is that chain 3 turning chain that you made. So we're going to go right through that, and that is the end of your first repeat row. I think the cotton gives this such nice stitch definition, although I wonder if it would look even nicer if it was a mercerized, glossy cotton. The second repeat row and the third row we are doing is very similar to the last 2 rows that we've done, if you haven't caught on yet. So we're going to chain 3, which counts as the first double crochet. In the next row, we're going to turn our work. And just like the previous row, we're going to place a double crochet in the next double crochet in that row. So we're starting the row with a chain 3, which counts as a double crochet, and a double crochet. Everything's lined up. It's these double crochets that give this piece a bit of structure. They act as columns and they anchor the shells a little bit so the rectangle doesn't go all haywire. But in that next chain 2 space that you made in the previous row, we're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 2, 1 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1 double crochet. Now we're going to find the next group of 4 double crochets you made in the previous row and place 1 double crochet on top of each of these stitches. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. You can see how these double crochet groups, they really anchor the zigzag shells. Now we're going to go into the next chain 2 space and we're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 2, 1 double crochet, all in the same chain space. Chain 2, 1 double crochet right back into that space. Now we're going to find the next group of 4 double crochets and place 1 double crochet at the top of each of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is what you should have so far. Next, we're going to work into the next chain 2 space, right into that space, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 1 double crochet shell, all in that same space. Chain 2, 1 double crochet. Now find the next group of 4, and we're going to place 1 double crochet on top of each of those double crochets in the previous row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, we're going to find the next chain 2 space you made in the previous row. We're going to place 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet into that same chain space. Now we're at the end of the row, and we're going to find the last 2 double crochets. In that row, we're going to place 1 double crochet on top of each of those. So 1, and the last double crochet, remember, is that chain 3 turning chain. And this is what we have at the end of the 2-row repeat with a setup row. And you just keep going to make this piece as big as you like. It's so easy, and you don't really have to think that much after you get the hang of it, because you are just double crocheting on top of the groups of 4 double crochets, and then otherwise doing the more complicated shell stitch into that giant chain space. So it's kind of hard to mess up, which I like. I like a stitch that is hard to mess up. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.